This is the Skeptical Student Show, created as a part of Podcast Lab by India Film Project in association with Anchor by Spotify.
Hello everyone, I am Gavish and I welcome you all to the Skeptical Student Show. Today I have Miss Manisha Gautam with me as our guest, who is a student at Delhi University pursuing a bachelor's degree in political science honors. She is also a proud humanities student just like me. She is also talented enough to be the admin of an Instagram page with over 33,000 followers. That is huge, which has content ranging from sarcastic memes to notes to helpful information for all humanities students. But we'll not reveal its name just yet, so stay tuned. The topic of discussion today is going to be humiliation of humanities in India, and we'll talk about the stigma that revolves around this stream in Indian society. So, Manisha, how would you introduce this topic according to your perspective?
Thank you, Gavish, for inviting me here. So, talking about the topic, I would like to say that this topic is very much needed because we all know that humanities is a stream which is considered less useful, a stream which has less scope, and people believe that this stream is only for weak and average people. That is completely wrong. Also, people discriminate us, and there are a lot of stigmas related to this stream. See, every discipline has its own limitation and benefits, and every stream is important.
Yes, well said. I do agree with you because if scientists come up with a technology and the commerce people manufacture products using the same technology, but who will buy all these products? Hence, humans are important, and the study of humans, that is humanities, is indeed important. So, all the streams are equally needed to run this world. Let us begin with the first segment for our show, Blast from the Past. This segment constitutes of the real life experiences of the host and the guests pertaining to the topic at hand. So, talking about my experience with humanities, I would like to state the fact that yes, I did face backlash from my family for choosing the subject of my choice. And it really made me wonder that is scoring above 90% in 10th standard and taking up arts something criminal? And why is there such an obsession with the science or STEM subjects, even if these subjects might lie outside of the field of interest of the student? But no matter what people around me or my family said, I remained firm, which I think was one of the best decisions of my life. Also, all these spectators disappear from the scene after 2 to 3 months. This is something I had realized. And if I had made my choice according to their expectations, I would have been trapped in my own predicament and nobody would have cared. It is a fact. So, Manisha, how about you tell me something about your experiences? Was your family supportive? Were the people around you judgmental? And so on.
So, talking about my experience, Gavish, I would like to say that I too faced many hurdles in choosing humanities stream. And even after that, like people around me were treating me as a weak student, and some of my friends were also laughing at my choice. And when some people ask me my stream, they don't even give the option for humanities. They always give importance to science and after that commerce. And speaking about art stream, they visualize it as a leftover stream which is useless in their opinion. And after taking humanities stream, I came to know that even our schools and our own education system discriminate against us, discriminate humanities stream, and they even think that we don't need a teacher. That's why they did not provide regular classes for a humanities student in some schools. And because of this, unfortunately, I got a non-attending school in my class 11th, and I did my class 11th and 12th at home with no like-minded friends. I was my own teacher. And sometimes I found myself in a state like depression, and I found myself demotivated, and I did not get any kind of guidance from my school. But I would like to mention here, in my case, my parents are very supportive, especially talking about my father. They supported me a lot, they motivated me and inspired me so much that you can do it yourself. And I did. I successfully completed my class 12th and got admission in Delhi University and took my favorite subject in my graduation.
Wow, your case is entirely different to mine and is interesting yet alarming to listen to at the same time. Well, it is completely opposite because I had complete support from the school side, but I lacked support in the family department. Principal madam literally had to convince my mother into letting me take humanities. At my school, the stream of humanities is also termed as the stream of toppers, and none of my teachers ever criticized my choice, which I have heard is a case at some places where the students are criticized, like the bright students are criticized by their own teachers for not choosing the science subject. And also, when I topped my school in 12th standard recently, all the criticizers turned into clappers. This is the cue for our education system to work towards improving the state of humanities in India because I have seen it with my own eyes that students from the remotest part of the city had to travel to our school just because humanities was offered here. So I can completely relate with you. This was it for Blast from the Past. Moving on to the next segment, Problem Pinpoint, where we try to identify the root cause of the issue. To begin with, I would like to say that for parents, it becomes more important to cater to the interests of the society rather than their own child. It is saddening but true. They tend to feel proud in saying in front of the outsiders that my child has taken up science. Also, the problem is accompanied by a misconception that humanities lacks career scope, and in the name of saving their child from joblessness, parents are okay with killing off his or her ambitions. Another myth and an argument is that a science student can venture into anything after 12th, and taking up humanities is in a way limiting options. Another cause of the issue can be that arts is regarded as a subject for weak students, as it can be opted by anyone who has passed. Other than identifying the causes of this issue, let us also throw light on why it is an issue in the first place. When humanities is humiliated in India, a student is deprived of a chance of becoming what he or she could be. They are trapped doing something or studying something which they do not even want to. They are depressed, they suffer, and this ultimately leads to unemployment and impacts their life harmfully. In addition to that, the existing students of humanities may question themselves, question their choices. They might even develop an inferiority complex. Hence, it must be termed as a social evil, in my opinion. Let us hear from you about the root cause of this issue.
Okay, so if I were to point out the root cause of this issue, I would like to add a few more points here. People have very little knowledge about this stream. Like our parents, students, even teachers, they have a preconceived notion that this stream is less fruitful and it will make you less intelligent and only science will take you places. And most of them don't even know the plenty of career options available in humanities stream. And the main root cause, which I found, is that many of us are not aware of the importance of subjects we have in this stream, like history, pol science, psychology, geography, and sociology, and so on. Even our own education system doesn't care. They should spread awareness and encourage students, but what they do is discrimination.
It is interesting to see how you're taking dibs at the education system, but I can't completely disagree as well.
And we have so many successful people in this stream as well, and there is a lot of scope in this stream too. A few days ago I read an article published in the Hindu newspaper that humanities social sciences are necessary in technical institute, and in the article the author mentioned that the study of humanities and social sciences not only adds values but is a way of understanding the complexity of society, its culture, and developing a historical perspective. And in the article, the author D. Bala Subramaniam has mentioned, and as you have mentioned, Gavish, times are changing. So today, students choose humanities not because that they feel they cannot cope with science, but because the humanities stream interests them and appeals to them. I did a quick survey of humanities students on my page, and it turns out that some bright students have opted for this stream, and even toppers. Hence, the impression that only average and weak students choose this stream is completely wrong.
I agree, and it gives me a ray of hope to see the world finally waking up to realize the importance of humanities when I see that prestigious institutions like IIT Madras are incorporating humanities courses into their course structure. With this, we come to the end of this segment. And moving on to the next segment, which is called Seeking Solution. As can be identified from its name, here we try to seek solutions for the problem at hand. Now, to debunk all these myths, if any parent is listening to this right now, please prioritize the student before the society. What is the use of this falsifying pride if your child is suffering and is unhappy at the end of the day? I ardently oppose the notion that humanities means joblessness. We are living in a fast changing world, won't you agree? And one can build a career out of anything of his or her interest. Also, gone are the days when having an engineer in the family was considered mandatory. No offense, but haven't you noticed that the engineering industry is at its saturation point? Most of the engineers are unemployed today because they were similarly pushed into this profession and lack the real interest and skills to be employed. In fact, liberal arts and humanities are the new normal and are becoming popular with each passing day. Our first Prime Minister, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, also had a liberal arts background. I would also like to throw light upon the fact that one isn't going to take up each and every profession in their life. So, what is this big talk about limiting options? At the end of the day, you will be taking up only one profession of your choice. And if humanities seems to suffice with that, what is the problem? Lastly, I do think that our education system is to be blamed to some extent. Because why would you keep only passing as the criteria to take a subject? This needs to change. Because 80 plus or above seems well for science, 70 or 60 above qualifies for commerce. But what about arts? Anything passes for arts, isn't it? I think, other than this, social science marks can be considered as an alternative to allot humanities subjects to the students. I think our education system needs to ponder upon the fact that when you will keep something at the bottom of the pyramid, how do you expect the society to respect it?
Yes, I totally agree with you, Gavish. What I want to add here is that interest should be one's priority rather than how many marks you get in your class 10th. And I want people to consider the fact that studying with interest help us grow faster and better than those who don't. We should never judge our passion in any subject by the marks we receive in it. We may get 95 out of 100 in science, but it doesn't mean that it's our passion. Interest in a subject is very important for us to decide which stream we want to continue with. And our parents must understand this thing. Let me tell you, Gavish, through my page on Instagram, where I am connected with a lot of students around 30k. So, what I found that parents force their kids to take up science or commerce even though they have no interest and don't want to make a career in that field. And I think in most of the cases, it is just because of the stigma related to this stream. People think that this stream is only for an average. And if you got 90 plus marks in your class 10, then you should choose science. And if you get less than 80% marks, then you should go for arts. And this is totally wrong. We really need to spread awareness and break these stereotypes so that every student can choose the subject of their interest.
I am the living example of the fact that bright students do take up humanities. And I've known some people who, in the name of choice, were asked to pick from medical or non medical by their parents. That is so sad. I believe there's a certain need to inculcate a sense of realization amongst the student fraternity as well, because I've heard students saying that humanities is so easy and no actual hard work is required in studying those subjects. But these are the same people who used to run away from SST in 10th standard. And if you still are of the opinion that it is easy, then please feel free to take up humanities. I believe students should stand in solidarity with one another instead of pulling one another down.
Also, I am spreading awareness and helping and guiding humanities stream students and trying to break these stereotypes through my Instagram page. I started this page for the reason. I realize that we are currently living in this social media world where our thoughts get modified through memes and social media content. And I always try that people should realize the importance of every stream. I want them to realize that humanities is as good as other stream and everyone should respect this stream. And I believe in small steps, like every big achievement is followed by small step. So I started this page for a cause.
Exactly. And isn't it what we are doing through the medium of this podcast? We are spreading awareness. It would actually break my heart if any student would have to feel ashamed because of his or her choice. I agree. Awareness is the first step towards change, and acceptance is the second.
See, selection of subject is a free choice and everyone is equally free to make choice. Intelligent student as well as the average one. And it's not about being a low scorer. The whole thing that matters is what field in which you are interested. If humanities really interest someone, he and she should not be discouraged by the stigma that is usually attached to this stream and should opt for the stream. Like, I never cared what people would say. Humanities is my love, and I am a proud humanities student. And I think every humanities student should be proud of their choice. Lastly, the point is not about supremacy. We are not saying that humanities is a superior stream, but acknowledgement of the fact that each discipline has things to offer. Therefore, it exists. So I feel lucky that I was able to opt for humanities without facing any pressure from my parents and family, but this I believe doesn't happen to everyone.
Points well made. And yes, I do agree that children like you and me were very fortunate, but others might not just be. With this ends the Seeking Solution segment. Next up is Moral of the Podcast segment. Here, we sum up the learnings from the entire episode. First, do not follow the herd mentality of the society. Second, if you are a parent, give an ear to what your child actually wants to do in life rather than imposing your unattained dreams on them. And if you are a student, it is your job and your task to convince your parents and fight for the right to make your own choices. Lastly, right decisions taken at the wrong time are still wrong. So make your choices wisely when there's still time so that there's nothing to regret about. Moving on to the last segment, where we give something back to our listeners to remember us by. The big reveal for today is the page called Humanities Adda, run by our very own guest, Manisha Gautam. It is called Humanities Adda with at the rate HUMANITIES underscore ADDA. I would also recommend to all the listeners to watch my YouTube video called Taking Humanities in India Family's Reaction. It is a detailed view of what all I talked about in the Blast from the Past segment. Thank you so much, Manisha, for agreeing to do this. I learned a lot from you today, and I hope our listeners did too. Do you have any last word for our listeners? Also, if you would want to stay connected up close and personal, follow us on Instagram. We are called Gavish Raptor with at the rate GAVISH underscore RAPTOR. Manisha, would you want to spell out your social handles for the listeners?
Okay, so I think my last word would be always believe in yourself. If you face any hurdles in your life, just try to face it, which will make you more strong and more confident. And in the end, I would like to say that each stream has its own benefits and limitation. But what really matters is your interest, which comes with a pinch of dedication. So whenever you have to choose between these three streams, science, commerce, or humanities, think well about your goal and interest. Sure, Gavish. If anyone wants to stay connected with me, they can follow my Instagram page called Humanities Adda, and they can also stay connected with me on my personal Instagram account, Manisha Gautam. Username MANISHAGAUTAM underscore.
I think the last word from my side would be to follow your heart always and do not let your judgment be clouded by others' opinions. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And don't forget to tune in again next week for a fresh episode.
You were listening to the Skeptical Student Show by Gavish Raptor, created as a part of Podcast Lab by India Film Project in association with Anchor by Spotify.